name is Valeria, and today I would like to talk about very interesting information about my major, that is industrial engineering. Well, what could you tell me if I ask you what are the most important and the top 10 majors here in Mexico? Well, what would you tell me? Well, don't worry about the answer. This is a very interesting information, and please let me explain to you some of these data with these graphs that are very useful for you. As you can see, in this graph, we have at the top, we have all the communication, architecture, psychology, and medicine majors. In the middle, we have industrial engineering, education, and also computers engineering. And in the bottom, we have law, administration, and accounting. As we can see, this graph is rising. Is rising until it approaches to the 700,000 people who prefer accounting from all the other careers. So we have accounting in the first place. As we can see, industrial engineering is in the middle, and we can see that between the computers engineering and the law, we have a considerable jump. The preference has a considerable jump because, as you can see, the number of people who prefer each career, well, it's very different. So, okay. As you know, when we are studying, everything is perfect and we think about books and that's all. But when we start thinking about having a job, about our salary, then frustration and stress immediately comes to our mind. So here's the graph that demonstrates, in my case, which are the salaries for an industrial engineer. So as we can see, this graph is showing to us the annual salary, experience salary, and the entry-level salary in the United States for an industrial engineering according to the years. So now we're going to focus on the annual salary. We can see that between the 2000 and the 2005, this graph is fluctuating a little bit, but then it has a very gentle increase here between 2005 and 2010. We can see that this salaries are being constant with the time, with the years, but we can see in this other line that is about experience salary that there are some engineers that have experience salaries almost of $120,000 per year. So what we can see in this graph is that, well, it is motivating and that we can have a lot of opportunities if we make an extra effort and if we work harder than the other engineer. So I think it is a good motivation for us because the difference between the salaries, well, is considerable. Now, this is a topic that is really interesting for me, and that's because I'm a woman. So it is very interesting for me to talk about women because, sometimes we are not very considerating in the industrial world, so it is important for me to talk about it. As we can see, we have here in this graph the percentage of participation of the woman according to different fields, and we can see that the woman participation has a sharp rise when we are talking about healthcare, when women are participating in healthcare. Of course, we have here architecture and engineering, that is my field specifically. So we can see that the participation for women is not very common. We can see that this participation is rising until we approach to humanity and other type of majors, but in engineer it is not very popular, so it is a challenge for me because the women's participation here is not very popular, so I have to work very hard so I can demonstrate that women can do the same things that men can, and that sometimes we can have a better development or a better performance in the field than the men can. So as I demonstrated before, this major is a challenge for me because I'm a woman, because it is in engineering, so I have to work very hard. But this data is really a motivation for me because it represents a challenge, but at the same time, I have the opportunity of proving that I am completely capable of achieving these challenges. So I hope this information was very useful for you and that you learned a little bit more about industrial engineering. So my name is Valeria Gaona and I really hope you like it.